is up? Welcome to Denoted, not Team A, and a Dirty Death. So, how's everyone doing today? I got a little bit of time here. Figured I'd do a little TMA stream for y'all. Yeah, but before getting into that, a little couple of things. Don't forget to do the EOR mix-along. The EOR mix-along, if I remember correctly, is Apple, I think. Where is it? Where did it go? It's somewhere here, of course. It's never when I can find it. Oh, I missed the Elder Dragon. Anyways, I believe it was Apple, if I remember. Oh, here it is. Autumn. Warm apple pie, I guess it is. Something like that, apple pie. Anyways, if you're watching the replay, you can check chat. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Also, don't forget to like our Facebook, as well as TMA will be back this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I have to create the new thumbnail. I think what I'm gonna do from now on is the thumbnails, like so I will just in general, I think I'll use one thumbnail, the picture as the actual thumbnail for all the videos to make it easier instead of switching. That way when you are on YouTube, you can just easily see the picture and know, oh, well, that's that picture. So eventually I will edit that. And last but not least, but not like, you can hit my Denoted. There is several. There's a 5, a 7, 11, a 20, a 30, a 50. There's everything. So if you like what you see, please help me pay for TPA. That being said, let's exit that. Well, we'll keep that up. So yeah, before I get into it, I did all these at 3%. There was a couple that I was afraid to do 3%, surprisingly. I will, let you know which one that is. That being said, what do you think I should do? I don't know how to word that. I think I should do a different picture from what the actual picture is, but I could just do the picture, which would make it a little bit easier to like kind of, but it also might make it a little bit chaotic. But I don't know. We'll see. I think having one picture will kind of organize it better, and then I won't have to constantly create a new image. Anyways, let's get into it. So we're going in no particular order. We're just going in the newest in here. Some of them I do have way more experience than others. Some I don't. This is Berry Jam. Once again, I did them all at 3%. This one was good in the berry in aspect. The jam for me was a little bit too watery and kind of missing the like density that I wanted. I feel like boosting it wouldn't been too crazy. And as you see here, it is accurate. It is a mixed berry kind of jam. I get specifically like raspberries and blueberries kind of deal. With the, a little bit of like maybe strawberry in there, but mostly raspberries and blueberries for me, or blackberries. It's overall it's good, but the kind of watered down aspect, I don't know how that would do in mixes. I haven't gotten around to mixing this one. But eventually I will. It didn't have any off notes or made me, think anything bad. It just didn't have the density that you think when you think jam. It was a little bit more watered down than, say, the most famous strawberry jam. That one, it was a little bit, strawberry jam honestly is not even that thick to begin with. by Triple O. This one, that being said, is a little bit thinned down, almost in the juice realm, kind of. But it did have that kind of natural slash artificial kind of jammy aspect that they all have. Overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It's nothing that I think you should run out and get right away. I don't know if boosting would help a lot. Layers and warmth, depth, slow simmering per. Yeah, I mean that it is what it is. I think this one would do pretty good in bakeries. I think certain things it might work. I don't think it has no use. It's just I don't know. Strawberry fresh. Now, what is did they give this a freshly picked strawberry or freshly picked strawberry picked on a sunny day? That's what they claim. Uh, I don't know what the fresh means. To me, it doesn't taste. All right, the disclaimer. I think I should mention this. I am a strawberry mute, or a strawberry intolerance, or a strawberry disgruntled, whatever you want to call it. I'm not completely mute, but I am unfortunately disadvantaged. That being said, this one is pretty good. Now, the fresh aspect, like I said, really makes me upset. It does make me upset, but kind of annoys me because it is not fresh. It is more in the ripe strawberry realm, but a little bit less artificial, but still leaning on that artificial. Whereas TPA's ripe, the OG is kind of artificial candied. This is more artificial juice. Does that make sense? Like ocean spray or something like that, but more on the malts or whatever, the apple juice, grape juice, like faker realm. Like if this was actual juice, like strawberry juice, we're talking about probably like I would say 60% artificial, 40% real. Like there is some definitive realistic-esque kind of strawberry in there, but it's a little bit too creamy almost, or um, uh, blended. Does that make sense? Like it has that kind of almost smoothie. Maybe a smoothie would be nice with it. I didn't even think about that. But it is in that realm of like, I know they're claiming that it's freshly picked or whatever. It is not in the realm of like 100%, 80%, 70% real. It is 40% real. It's mostly artificial kind of strawberry juice that I get. I have made this in a mix, I think, that I may or may not be doing right now. I don't know, honestly. Is it cute? Cool? Yeah. Excuse me. One sec. Yeah, so I did it in this mix, which is Coolcumber 0.25, Fresh Watermelon 1.25, Strawberry Fresh 2.5, Ultimate at 5, Watermelon Canadian at 3. It's really good. I think the Strawberry Fresh might fade, after a couple days. The strawberry is not as potent. And definitely, of course, Ultimate is carrying the lead. What I think Strawberry Fresh does or will do better is it is an additive or a supporting cast to a main strawberry. In a mix where I kind of reversed it and had Strawberry Fresh as the main, it seemed to get kind of cluttered by the watermelon. So having the strawberry, the Ultimate Strawberry at 5%, really takes over the hard parts, and ends up, in my opinion, I really enjoy this flavor. It is, or this recipe. It is essentially a simple. I mean, it is 5 flavors, so it's not that simple, and it is kind of hard to source all these flavors, especially now. That being said, though, I really like this, and besides the Ultimate, it's all new flavors. But as I said, the problem with the Strawberry Fresh, so let's go back to the Strawberry Fresh. The problem with the Strawberry Fresh was that I think it started to fade a little bit after a couple days. Not to the point where it's like lemon range or like significantly noticeable, but it is definitely something that you should keep an eye out and could be OCD to someone. For me, it was kind of like, um, after those days, what happens 7 days or so is it just kind of blends and turns into even more of a juice, if that makes sense, mush. Um, that being said, as an additive, I have liked it. I do like its sweetness, its juiciness overall. It is pretty good. I think it's going to be that typical TPA in the 2.5 to 5 range. I don't think it is a shining star, as compared to the ripes and the sweets. Uh, but I think it is some uh, fresh and new. No pun. I think if you are a strawberry fan like me, I wouldn't be unhappy with this purchase whatsoever. Well, I mean, I'm not. I did purchase it. Um, so I do like it. It isn't those like cap indos where I think it's going to be forgettable or anything like that. It's definitely in the cap shisha, green. I think this is something in the future that could be as good. I have to do more recipe development with it, more than one or two. Um, but overall, I was pretty happy. I was just, I really, this is why whenever I see something like fresh or natural, I just completely ignore it because, 9 out of 10 times it's not fresh or natural. That being said, it's still playing music. I don't want to get copyright. Tangerine. All right. So, I have a hard time with oranges and citruses and stuff like this. Hey, Linda. Thanks for joining. That being said, this is a really good tangerine now. What is the other one? Cap? It is. Now, I'm not gonna say it's exactly the same, but they're. I mean, I didn't test them side by side, but they immediately kind of make me think of each other. This one was more natural than the candied Capella. But Capella is still kind of natural. At least for me, I don't know. But this was really good. I did it in a mix. That mix I still have to see if I even like it. I let it steep a little bit. Um, I gotta find that now. But as a single flavor test, this was really good. Uh, I enjoyed it a lot at 3%. It's a very juicy, slightly zesty tangerine. Like there's not any kind of like overbearing skin notes or anything like that, but it has a nice citrusy kind of a tangerine zest to it. It's very good, dense for a tangerine, not harsh whatsoever. In a mix, it's not harsh. Not much to say about it, except there isn't a lot of tangerines, and I think the big question is like, is it better than Capella, which is kind of, in my opinion, obviously the best uh, tangerine. I mean, it's not that many. It's like trying to say who has the best blizzards. It's obviously Dairy Queen. It's the only one, but I think this might be better. The only thing that would decipher it is or differentiate it is how it does in mixes. Shocker, no surprise here. I mean, I'm telling you the obvious, but if it does good in mixes, I mean, it's just overall off the single flavor test, it's better than Capella, in my opinion. And that's you know, what makes Capella so good is it's pretty good in mixes. So I'm very curious to see how they do in comparison. A single flavor test is irrelevant if it's crappy in mixes, and Capella does really good job with their tangerine, at least from my saying. Out of all the tangerines, I think that's the only one. Now the oranges, I have issues with the oranges in general, but this one I had no issue with. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wouldn't say surprised, but I didn't think too much of it to be good. Now, okay, lemon slice. So lemon slice I've done in a mix as well. I think this is a really good additive for lemonades. Kind of, it is a slice of lemon, but what it immediately made me think of is like perfect for a lemonade. not in the essence of like using it as a base, but as a additive. And I did use it with Loran's and Flavor West. I enjoyed the mixes, but what I did notice is kind of a fade in problem. Around day 5 through 7, the lemons seemed to be less potent, and it seemed to be the lemonades from Flavor West and Loran's doing most of the carrying. That being said, it's kind of up to you. Like if you're making a mango sticky rice kind of recipe, then yeah, this would be perfect for you. But I think this is a 5 to 7 lemon, 5 to 7 day lemon, meaning it fades away. Now it doesn't fade away completely to obscurity. Obscure. It doesn't fade completely into La La Land. But fuck it. Take a sip. I need to get a drink. That's the problem. I forgot to bring a drink. That's its only problem, is it fades. Now, what you get is a natural lemon slice that has what feels like almost lemonade sugar in it. Does that make sense? Like it has a little bit of unnatural sweetness behind it, which made me think lemonade, but then it has a nice natural kind of lemon up front. Like I said, the major problem here is that fade, and the flavor is overall delightful and no off notes, juicy, great. I love it, but that fade in can be a deal breaker. In my opinion, if a flavor fades, I mean, it's got to be goat level, kind of, for me to consistently get it. I love, what is it, SC mango, but that it fades. I love, certain lemons and they fade. So it's like, is it just, why even bother? But this is TPA, so you can get it dirty cheap, $4, 30 mil. Where are we next? Now, orange tangy. Now, is this supposed to be? Okay, good. So I was thinking, obviously from the name, I did all of them at 3. Now, when I did them in mixes, I did them in 2.5 to 4 range. The watermelons that we'll talk about, I think I did in the 4. The lemons, I did in the 2 to 3 range in mixes. But single flavor test right down the line, did 3. There is 1, maybe 2 that I think are a little bit more potent, in the TPA pineapple range, where we're talking about sub 1%, but I need to test them more. Yeah. That being said, orange tangy, it's not a tang. Don't think the drink tang whatsoever. It is a zesty orange, not in the realm of juice, but almost like you squeezed and stopped. It's just kind of a juicy orange. I don't, and pretty zesty. Didn't give me any kind of whatever, pine sol or any kind of cleaner notes in there. The zesty nature kind of gave me a little bit of rind out of it. Now I don't know how you'll do with that, and I also don't know how it will do in mixes. Overall wasn't bad. Just, I mean, probably something I wouldn't use. Also, I think what really hurt this is I used it after, or single flavor tested it after the first time. The lemon slice, or tangerine, sorry, the tangerine, which I really liked. And then doing this, it's kind of not as turned up, if you know what I mean. It's okay. I didn't really like it. I wouldn't die for it. And Linda, I don't think Sam has them yet. No, yeah, he does. But he didn't test them. 100% he didn't test them. How many more is there to go? There's not that many more. Raspberry ripe. Alright, so raspberry ripe, I have to test it by sweet raspberry, the other one by TFA. But honestly, it kind of reminds me of a similar to that. it was a little, whereas sweet is a little bit more artificial, and all that. I think this one is a little bit more natural. Um, but I I I liked it. I didn't love it. It just kind of seemed, what is the right word? Monotone, kind of horizontal. Does that make it seem jaded? It also seemed very similar to sweet raspberry. So I was kind of confused. I was like trying to decipher the differences of what I could remember. And I remember, the sweet one being a candy and tart and sweet. And this one is pretty similar to it. I think it's tart and sweet. I don't get the candied aspect as much as more like a juice or almost like a poorly constructed jam, like watered down, like a juicy jam. It was over good. It was overall good. I don't think this comes into the big boy range, the big boy realms. With Inawera, Noms, all those raspberries. Um, those seem to be significantly superior. However, I think this one would do really good in the mix. I think it would blend a lot better. I also think you could warp this towards jam, towards juice, towards candied even. Uh, the good thing about tonight is none of the flavors uh, were bad. Some of them may not smell. Well, later, Linda. One of them, we'll go over it. One of them, it's not bad, but it's like, if you're gonna punch, bro. You know what I mean? But this one was okay. It was decent. I think it would show up more in a mix. Uh, Now, watermelon juice. So this one might be one of my favorites of the night. Was it in the mix I just showed? This. Was it in Cool Calm? It's probably in a private one. Oh god. Oh god. I gotta find it. Yeah, I did in this one. Yeah. And I can't really talk about it too much because of another issue, but we'll talk about the flavor. We'll just talk about this flavor. I was trying to talk about it and then realize not just yet, because then I'll have to talk about another and you don't know about it yet. Or, well, I don't, you know what I mean. Yeah, whatever. Watermelon juice. Pretty good. Does it look like that? Does it taste like that picture? Nah, not really. It just tastes like watermelon artificial candied. It doesn't scream out anything juice in comparison to other watermelons, you know what I mean? It just tastes like watermelon. And they all kind of taste like watermelon juice. It does have a little bit of rind in there and a little bit of like honeydew, but very light. It's mostly watermelon. Um, I enjoy it. It did great in the mix. However, it's super weak. I've done it in the mix at 4. I still think I want more. In the single flavor test, I did it at 3. Uh, so I think this one could be easy 5 to 6. I think it could also be in the realm of like the grape juice realm where it's like, purely top note. Um, it's not. It's got top and bottom, it's got the body, but it's just not. It doesn't have the depth, and yeah. I think in mixes, it's always going to be a supporting cast and a booster to finding a booster in finding that watermelon shouldn't be too hard. I also could see this just being like watermelon sweetener. Exactly. Like pretty much I view it as TPA grape juice, like, but a little bit more potent, a little bit more in depth, even though I just said it wasn't. Uh, You know, and grape juice TPA is more top note than bottom. This is a little bit more balanced, but it's still in that realm of like, what can you do for me, and what have you been doing for me, and how far can I push this flavor, and how far can I logically push it? I don't know when it would turn sour. I feel like you could easily do this. This might be like, anywhere from 5 to 15 kind of realm. So I don't know. It's like a child you want to do better. All right. Now, the problem with mimicking, these big companies like Gushers is it's virtually impossible, especially, considering that they're probably using flavors as well. This was good for what it is. Now, did it make me think Gushers? Yeah, I guess a little bit. Did it have the goo inside? No. Um, did it have any texture? No. It kind of reminded me of like Aurora Tart Blast, but for Gushers. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like a good, like, oh, I want some Gusher. Let me throw it in here. Oh, I have some candied Tart Blast is always good in it. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like you throw this into any kind of gummy or candied flavor nonchalantly with no purpose, and it will do okay. Does that make sense? Like it seems like a fruit smoothie TPA situation where you really just throw it at the wall, and it won't be bad. It won't always be amazing. Does that make sense? Um, it's got the generic kind of sweetness that a gusher has. It has somewhat, what it tastes like to me is like if you have one gusher, it has somewhat of a flavor that you can decipher. I never did that. It tastes kind of like how I used to eat it, where you just ate the whole bag. Kind of like a bunch of Skittles at once, which creates this unique kind of flavor. So it did nail that, but individually wise, like I don't remember if they had different flavors or if they were all the same. It didn't get that, and also there's no goo, kind of deal. But yeah, it did kind of remind me of taking the whole bag of Gushers and doing it and eating it at once. But what I think this will excel at is, like I said, I think it's in a fruit smoothie TPS situation where you just throw it at the wall and it sticks, and it will make something decent at least, kind of fail proof. I didn't get any off notes, no fade in, you know, just kind of generic. I didn't even think like off brand. Like it felt like, you know, a, a, a respectful attempt, because I don't know how you can mimic the goo, which is pretty much all Gushers is. If you take the goo away from Gushers, you just have a gummy bear, right? Like that's all it is. So, anyways, I enjoyed it. Kind of forgetful of this flavor, but I enjoyed it. All right, so here is the potent one. Fuji apple, just off the smell, I was worried about doing it. I did it at 3 anyways, and I think this is definitely a 1 to 3. At 3, I was getting kind of like a rough apple cider. Uh, Very similar to FA, uh, but oh, it's a little bit more cidery than FA, whereas FA is more natural. This just screams cider at 3. It was a little bit too uh, fizzy and fermented. Does that make sense? So I think this would be like a sub 1, 1 to 2 kind of thing. I didn't have time to try it again. It wasn't terrible, but the cider wasn't some that I would scream for. Um, yeah, I think this is the only one that I miscalculated. I figured, all right, it's just the smell, but it might be a little bit, or it might be a placebo, and I just tricked myself. I don't know, but wasn't too big of a fan of the cider aspect of it. I did like the actual apple aspect when I could get through that cider, but I didn't like the fermented kind of off note that I got from it. uh, 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 uh. So for stevia, all I did was I tested it with a recipe that I knew and loved, and tested it against the other stevia that I had that I think was from Nick River, if I remember correctly. And for all my stevia peoples, it's fine. Uh, I did this one at 1.5 in comparison to the other one, just to have it full blown. I usually did stevia at the 1 to 1.5 range when I do it, because it isn't as potent as cap or super sweet. The problem is that that percentage, a lot of people don't like the natural kind of earthy notes that stevia gives. I don't mind it, but if you are talking about in comparison of other stevias, there is no indistinct, or there is no distinct difference, in my opinion. The earthy notes were similar to uh, Nick River, or even Capella, maybe a little bit less earthy than Capella, but stevia. It's sweetened just as well. Yeah. And I would say, it was just as potent. What would they say? Sharplinger and sweet. Yeah, herbal. Herbal. That Hound Doom, right? All right, so here's the one you need to pass. This one I don't like. I can't smell it, and I really can't taste it. I did it at 4%. It's the lightest pink gum. I think this is definitely like something that needs to be maybe 10%. Like at 4%, I got little to nothing. A little waxiness. And that's it. And the pink was, I mean, this, calling it, calling it, what do they call it? Baseball card gum. It would be offensive to baseball card gum. But essentially, that's what I got from it. This is by far the worst one. Uh, I don't think you should get it. I think there's a whole lot better bubble gums. Innerwear makes a couple of them. If you can find Mullenberry, maybe it's SSA now. They can make it way better. So this is a hard pass. Uh, Mango sweet. Gotta say, we're kind of blessed with mangoes right now. Now, I'm not gonna say this is like a life changing mango. Okay, Favora has spoiled me. Okay, but this is a good mango. It reminds me a lot of Capella sweet mango. I mean, pretty much. It seems like that's kind of what it was aiming for, kind of a carbon copy. It's a red mango, exactly like you see in the picture. Uh, Not as juicy as you would expect, a little bit thick, exactly like that picture, but it does have some good juiciness. Uh, no green, uh, natural, but also a little little sprinkle of artificial in there. One of my favorites tonight. I haven't had the chance to mix with the mangoes, with all the new mangoes that I have gotten. Well, not all, it's like three, right? I've wanted to take my time with it in developing a mango. No, I have all these Dumés. So, like, uh, I've been just trying to not go crazy, because when I do mangoes or pineapples, I go crazy and I can just literally do it nonstop. The same thing with strawberries. Once I found or I find a strawberry recipe I like, I can go months. Uh, I'm glad to hear that SSA picked up the Mullenberry American bubblegum. That one was good. Well, I guess is good, and I'm not a big fan of Mullenberry. But I am a big fan of this mango sweet. But like I said, I'm very curious to see how it does in a recipe. The single flavor test is very similar to Capella in potency. I did it at the 3, and I think this could easily go to 5 or 6. But yeah, overall, I loved it. I'm really excited to mix with that one. Golden honeyed notes. woke up. All right, we're on pineapple. So pineapple fresh did at 3. This one kind of reminded me of a little bit of like Thai pineapple from SSA. It was a little sharp pineapple, a little rough off the shake, but kind of mellows out. Well, not mellows out, but gets rid of that sharpness later on. Kind of reminds me of the sharpness you think of this picture. The acidity is there. It's kind of like a Americanized Thai pineapple. Does that make sense? You took the Thai out of it, but you kept the pineapple, or somewhere in that range. Like it's definitely a unique pineapple, but not that unique to the point where you're like, this is a pineapple I've never had. No, it's kind of like the Thai pineapple. So whatever that pineapple specifically is, it seems to be like that. Not like it's mimicking or copying it, but it's a pineapple that has a little bit more behind it than just a simple pineapple. It's a little sharp. It has a little bit of spices in there that some people notice. Um, I liked it. I'm curious to see how it does in a mix. At 3, it seemed fine. It seemed like this could be like a 1 to 5 versus like a 3 to 6 kind of deal. Um, I don't know how, if I want to do it as an additive or if I want to do it as a base overall. Like it wasn't the most basiest, but it seemed to be more dominant or more basey than the average pineapple, which can be a little bit just more on the top. But yeah, overall I liked it. No off notes. Really, you know what I mean? There's no terrible flavors tonight, which really, really shocked me. Watermelon sour candy with stevia. Now, I was expecting to be disappointed in the watermelon aspect, and I was. I didn't think the stevia ruined this whatsoever, but I felt like the watermelon wasn't really candied enough, and it wasn't as really punchy. It was kind of like a diet watermelon candy. Maybe at 3% that was a little too low. I felt like doing these at 3 would be perfect to see if I bring it to 5 or if I lower it. Uh, what up, the highlighter? Um, but yeah, it was just lacking the watermelon, and I don't know if the stevia was the same that they've always had. There's not like a different one. They all just have that earthy undertone there, and it seemed like that was fine. There wasn't anything different, but the watermelon just seemed to be lacking a typical watermelon candy. That little punch in your face of sour, juicy artificial watermelon. It was just missing there. That fake watermelon you think about when you think watermelon candy, no, it wasn't there. It was almost just kind of like a poor attempt at that. The flavors that are bad tonight, they don't taste bad. They're just not good, which is, kind of refreshing in comparison. I was expecting a lot of these to be terrible. But no, they ended up just kind of having small flaws, like the watermelon is just way too light in this, but it's not a terrible watermelon. There's no off notes in it. Strawberry splash. Um, Generic red juice. I didn't get anything soda, anything juice kind of out of it. I almost kind of like Kool-Aid. It just kind of tasted like red to me. Uh, Kind of disappointed because, the picture, looking at it right now, I see the green and the red in there, and that would have been cool. I never researched what the splash could be. It says a summertime drink. Maybe, I mean, I guess that's red. A drink would be red, but nothing. I didn't. The strawberry is mute for me. I don't get the strawberry. It's just kind of a red. Almost to me, it's like sweet and sour purple drink, but sweet sweet red drink, no sour. But yeah, um, unfortunate that I didn't really taste the strawberry. But that being said, Splash, I could do some with it that is just red. Um, yeah, I mean, it is juicy. I wouldn't say vibrant, but yeah, unfortunately for being a strawberry mute, it's not pro. All right, so lemon candy. The lemon candy, was that the picture? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, lemon candy. So lemon candy. The reason why I didn't want to talk about it also was leaning into that kind of lemonade aspect. So then I put it in that mix that I showed you, and the problem with it is it faded. It faded out very quickly. So then I tried it with Favora. I mean, not Favora, Flavor West, and it did the same thing. I did it at 3 because, at 3 in the single flavor test, it felt fine. It felt like, similar to like VTA Sour Lemon with, like, in com- combination of like Favora lemonade. Like, so it had this like really kind of candied vibe, but then also this really kind of artificial fake lemonade vibe. So I thought I could easily kind of, move it along. Now, when I was single flavor testing, I didn't unfortunately notice the fade. I mean, looking back, it's kind of there, but when you're testing it in comparison to other flavors, you didn't notice it as much. But then if you have your own mix and you're going throughout the 7 days, you definitely notice it. Uh, like I said, it doesn't completely dissipate, but it's still not as prominent as it was day one. It goes from 100 to like, the 20% range, I think. So yeah, that kind of sucks about those lemons. Now, that being said, maybe I need to do them in the 4 to 6 range and maybe they'll show up more prominently, long term. But I mean, doing it a lemon candy at 3% with 5% lemonade, you think it would be sufficient to push along the way. But that being said, it is TPA, so maybe. But once again, not bad and great of those first couple days. Uh, Very chewy squares. We all know what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a Starburst. Uh, what were they going for? I don't know exactly what kind of Starburst. It's kind of like it's some from the mixed berry or wild berry one. I don't know which one it is. I think it's like a purple or red one. I gotta remember. But I think it's called wild berry or something like that. Uh, yeah, is that no distinguishable flavor beyond like a artificial wild berry kind of fake crap. Not too good, lacking the density and the chewiness. I don't know. It just kind of just reminds me of candy juice. Does that make sense? A little bit disappointed. These these square attempts are kind of annoying because the flavors are already in the candy, right? So like we just need to know those flavors and then there's no way to mimic the texture. So it's just that. So kind of sucks. So at least now we know it's not TPA that did it because if TPA was the one that did it, they would never like let us know by doing this. Or maybe they did. Maybe there is a wild berry. That being said, it wasn't bad. I just wish it had the more density that you would think with a hard chew. And then is that the last one? Is peach gummy candy even the last? Oh, this one doesn't even go in order. Have I done them all? Very choosy bubblegum, yeah, dip, 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 dip. All right. So peach rings. Oh, peach gummy. Sorry. Yeah, tastes like peach rings. Need to be a A spoiler, tastes like peach rings. These ones kind of fade. Looking back, I think they kind of fade. Nothing too drastic. I think we're going from 100 to like 60. You know what I mean? But looking back in the fade ins of the lemons tonight, I think it kind of fades. Uh, these are peach something, but it's just peach rings with sugar on them. With the fade in, that's that. What up, Sam? Not bad. Uh, who makes the good peach? It's Wonder Flavors, right? Uh, yeah. That being said, I like it. It fades, so that's kind of a bum. It tastes good. I'm not a big, huge peach gummy guy, but yeah, it tastes like peach rings, sugar coated. Uh, pretty good. You know, no cons really. I don't have much more to say. You know, um, the flavors that were just kind of meh, like that. I don't know. Peach gummy, kind of meh. I will say, if it'd be nice to give you like a top three, I guess. Number three, strawberry fresh. Oh crap. Number two, mango sweet. Number one would be either tangerine, but I also like watermelon juice. I think watermelon juice could be four. So I would say tangerine. If tangerine does what it should do and mixes, I will like it. It will be number one. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, I think watermelon juice splash. I mean, watermelon fresh or the mango could easily be number one. Now, if these two, the lemon candy and the lemon slice, didn't fade as much, those would be my number one and number two. Uh, they they just the first couple of days, the smell off the shake, they're really good, and then the fading kind of makes me not like it. But yeah, that's I think tangerine. You know what? I'm gonna go on a rim. You think I'm gonna say the strawberries? You think I'm gonna say the grapes? You think I'm gonna say the guanabanas? Well, screw you. I said the tangerine. Get zesty. I don't like the watermelon. Honestly, the only ones I didn't like, I mean, stevia is gone just because, it's WS-23, it's an additive, whatever. The only ones I really didn't like were, I mean, orange tangy wasn't my thing. Fuji apple was disappointed. The bubblegum pink just made me angry. And then these two Bs are kind of like, they're not like, they're not like terrible, but they're just like, eh. I think if you wanted to save some time and you didn't want to, I mean, if you want support, you can use Team DTV and you get 6% off at Bull City. This is free shipping as well. So if you want, you could just do that to support them. But if you wanted to get even cheaper, but you still have to pay for shipping, I would just go with the gummy fruity gushy. I liked, I enjoyed it. The mango sweet. Uh, the strawberry fresh, the tangerine, the watermelon juice. The raspberry and the pineapple are not that bad, but like if you I I think like if you're in the 5 to 10 pineapple and raspberry range, like you have 5 or 10 already, you don't really need this unless you're deep diving. Um, and even deep diving, I don't know. I mean, they're good, but they're not like your life's not going to change. You know what I mean? EM heavy. I could see that just off the junk. I think watermelon juice. I feel like there's EM in this. I don't know what to tell you. I think this one does. I think the ripe raspberry does. I think I don't think they have EM, but how they fade in the last 7 to 14, like holy crap. This is probably just a ball of mute. I don't know. I just don't get it. But definitely some of them have EM. But overall, I mean, yeah, good job, TPA. I mean, there's no bad flavors, which is really easy to do. You can ask other companies. You know what I mean? So, like, they did a good job. I think if you really want to like any of these flavors on this list, you would. I don't think any of them you would dislike unless you get some random off note that I didn't get or don't get to begin with. Um, yeah. I mean, Inaware, give it Inaware a couple years, they'll have green one, green eggs and ham. So, that being said, I think what we should do, I don't know if I have, I don't know if I have, let's see, content, playlist, yeah, two, I feel like, no, show me the videos. I feel like it would be easier, I think from now on, um, why is it like this? Oh, it's like that. The picture, I will make it the actual picture. So this is picture 2, episode 1. So I think I'll just make the picture and to change. That way they just all stay the same. And of course, I bet you it's not on here. Not on here, is it? Yeah, it's not. It's not on here. Dang it. All right. I guess I won't. We're gonna continue to have fun. Uh, so yeah. Next this Wednesday coming up, or next Wednesday, whatever's the hey hippie. Yeah, I don't. I the TPA shocked me. I really thought all of them were gonna be below mid, but you know, thanks Poppy for watching. Uh, Mine too. I got a headache coming. I'm sorry. I know the last couple I kind of rushed through. I apologize, but man, I think it's because I gotta eat as well as my nose. I want to just go. You know what I mean? It's because the weather. But TPA did fantastic. I mean, for being now, if we take into account that they haven't made a new flavor since 2004, just kidding. I'm being facetious, but they could have done better. They've had a long time to prep. But in comparison to other lineups, there's always a crappy flavor, unless it's like the top tiers, like the Fulforas. So I'm really proud of TPA. Like they're all not bad. There is ones that for me I didn't get much out of, like the pink bubblegum. But to each their own, that might be someone else's. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a terrible flavor. It didn't give me off notes. It just gave me the waxiness that gum would have, and a mild pink. Not even a pink, really. It was just kind of the waxiness you get from a gum, which could be useful. That being said, I'm really happy, TPA. I think it's best to get the box, get the free shipping, just try them yourselves. I don't think you'll be upset with any of them. I don't think you'll run to the bank. I don't think you'll be like, oh my God, I watched this show and he told me to get all of them and I got one and now my life's changed forever. But I bet you one of them you really like. and I don't think you'll hate any of them, which is really good for a lineup. I think that is, you know, kind of important, because if I don't hate any, there's a pretty good chance that most people will like a good portion of it. I think overall, just randomly guessing, you'll like 60% of them, and the rest will be either mid or just kind of eh. And, I think there's only like a 5% chance that one will be just awful, and that will probably be Fuji because that thing seems to be rough. But yeah, that being said, so let me send the picture. I gotta send the picture to myself, and then I can post the new video because TMA is gonna be coming. And I think we're just gonna do that from now on. Is I'm just gonna do the picture that is um gonna be done. That makes sense. So you can view it, and then you always know they're together. What the heck? Oh, uh, yeah, but yeah, I'm sorry, just had a brain fart. But yeah, TPA will be not TPA, TMA will be Wednesday, and they will be finishing up the picture. I'll put the link up after this stream. Uh, if you have an idea for a show, let me know, man. Let me know. Um, I will be doing Wonder Flavors in a few weeks. I don't know when, honestly. Um, Hopefully before the end of October. I have a busy next couple weeks. I have, yeah, October is pretty busy for me. This weekend is something very special. The weekend after that, I don't think I have anything. But then I have another little mini vacation family reunion, and then Halloween, which is crazy. Uh, so I'll get the Wonder Flavors when I get some time. If I do have some extra time, I'll also try to do a pod recipe sh- episode show. Uh, I would like to see or like to do an episode where I just make it all from scratch, but uh, usually I don't really do anything too intricate. Just because my palate, it's not what I want. I just kind of tend to want, five flavors or less, kind of simple things. That's just me. But eventually, I would like to do that, kind of show you how it works. Because even though sometimes you want to use five flavors, sometimes you have to back them up. Uh, yeah. That being said, I guess I'm gonna get out of here. How long? How long? Oh, it's been quick. Yeah. Shout out to Eddie. I hope he's okay. I know he's been busy. Shit happens. But thank y'all for watching. Pretty quick, honestly. It was 18 flavors. Not too bad. What? Three flavor recipes are just how it goes. Did any one of y'all get new TPAs or anything like that? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Alright. Yeah, that's me. Yep, 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 yep. You never, like, I don't think I'm Mr. Poplar, but Jesus, sometimes you stop using your phone for 2 minutes, and then all these notifications come up, and the phone makes you feel like you're famous. And it's like, calm down, buddy. The last time you bought a T, so, well, I mean, now I know. I mean, I don't count because I bought it for Denoted, Noted DX, so, but yeah, they're not too common, which kind of sucks. I wish they were back in the realm. Some flavors are pretty good. But anyways, stay tuned for more. Uh, yeah, if you liked what you saw, please hit the Patreon, which is always posted. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. TMA Wednesday, 7 p.m. time. And I'll be back eventually for the win. Love y'all. Stay safe.
Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. There is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to
Zigzag. Later, y'all.
to the black.